Right, so we're now live. This is going to be very odd for a bunch of people who are now getting notifications on their YouTube or on their phones or on Facebook going, hang on a second, he hasn't done one of these for a while. Wow, okay. Welcome along to Talking Con, a cup of tea with Englishman in San Diego. We're just doing a bit of a countdown at the moment, just to kind of get everyone settled and sorted. Of course, do spread the word, let everyone know that we're doing this this kind of incidental episode, this one-off, because we are not back. We are not back for a regular show on a Sunday. My schedule for work is just not allowing me to do that just yet. Indeed, we've got Dan Berry. So what's this? Yeah, you know exactly what this is, Dan. Shut up, you. Into the Blue, Mr. New number. What? Who dis? Yeah, I know. People are. I disappear for a month or so, and people just forget me. I see. I get what's going on. One thing I will point out, however, is that we are, or I am still taking Patreon donations, and these are the amazing people that have been donating to the Patreon, even while the live stream has not been on. But the website has still been up and running, so the conventioncollective.com is still been putting out articles, and we've been putting out lots of reviews and opinion pieces up on the website. As I said in my video back in December, the monies that have been coming in on the Patreon is going to the writers and going to article contributors. I don't take anything from this, as always. So it's more a case of just a way to hand back to those people who've been putting their time and effort into the website. And I really do appreciate everyone who goes to the conventioncollective.com just to kind of check out what we're doing. And of course, if you are wanting to find a space to put an opinion piece out there on comics, on cosplay, on any aspect of the events that we enjoy or would enjoy when they're up and running, yeah, please do get in contact with us. You can email me at leonard@theconventioncollective.com, or you can email Dan as well at dan@theconventioncollective.com. If there's an idea that you want to put out into the world, we are a nice supportive space, and we'll do what we can to promote your world. Likewise, we also do a sandbox spotlight, which we're kind of turning into a kind of like a virtual artist alley. A real kind of a showcase of some fantastic creatives, and we do that on a Monday. A new piece will be going up tomorrow. If you want to contribute to that, again, jump in and email me at leonard@theconventioncollective.com if you would like to be showcased on the Sandbox Spotlight. But let's do the opening credits, and let's do this kind of irregular show of Talking Con. Right. Hello there, everybody. Welcome along to Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. My name is Leonard Sultana, and this is a show where I talk about Comic-Con's con culture and all the stuff and nonsense that we get to enjoy at such shows when they actually take place and when they actually happen. This is kind of a weird feeling to me, because it's been such a while since I've done one of these. It's not a new regular run of the show, which unfortunately we're not going to be able to get back into doing full Sundays again just yet, purely because of the schedule which I have for my new proper job. I have a job. I have one of those proper real world jobs now. So strange. It means that as a key worker, I do work in a warehouse, which kind of does shift its timetable from day to day and week to week. So I'm not able to commit to doing the show on a regular basis. However, off the back of a tweet that got put out by one of our guests today, which prompted this whole live stream. The idea being that I'm certain that we've all, as convention enthusiasts and people who have attended Comic-Cons, sat around at the end of the weekend, bit broken, bit tired, but fully enthusiastic of the meeting of friends and our mutual enjoyers of the things that we love at Comic-Cons. We talk about shows, we talk about our favorite memories of them, we talk about what makes Comic-Cons great. And that was set up by, or the tweet was put out by Mr. Mike Garley, who's one of our guests, and I'd like to welcome him along to the show. Hello, Mike. How the devil are you, sir?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
And we also have Ethan Castillo, who's joining us. Hello, Ethan. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Joining us from across the pond. And we've got Emma Vaselli as well. Hello, Emma. How are you?
I can't hear anything.
Oh, no!
I'm just doing this crazy crackling thing. Okay, stopped now. Speak again.
Hello there. I mean,
Okay.
you're gonna, everyone who's watching, you're going to have to let us know who on earth, if what the sound's like and what the connection like. But hopefully, I mean, I can hear everyone. Everyone can hear it. Oh, we can hear you. It sounds okay at this end.
Before we went live. Okay.
Oh, you see, it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those shows.
It's
going to be one of those. Okay. So, like I say, this is kind of, it's all going to be, there you go, Andrew is saying we can hear all perfectly. So there you go.
Okay,
Emma,
give me a moment then. I'm going to,
there we go.
Let me try
all
and
good.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to switch my headset.
Well, tell you what, though, I mean, I think it's best then, because, I mean, certainly the one thing that Emma said, that didn't know who Ethan was or never not heard of Ethan's work. So I think what we'll do is I usually start these shows and with the introductions with 3 questions. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we'll go around everybody. First up, we'll ask you to give a little brief introduction to yourself.
So sorry, I'll be right
then
back.
We'll start with fair enough, she'll get herself sorted. They'll start with the first question, which is if you can remember your first Comic-Con that you went to. Mike, introduce yourself, sir. The floor is yours. Who is Mike Garley?
Hello, so I'm Mike Garley. I'm a comic creator, writer. I mainly do independent stuff. I've done some Adventure Time and Wallace and Gromit. I've also done independent series such as The Kill Screen and Our Final Halloween and Dead Roots and various other bits and pieces, semi-slasher as well. But yeah, I've been doing comics for about 10 years now. My first Comic-Con was a strange one because it was on my anniversary. Me and my wife went, it's our first anniversary, and we went to MCM Comic-Con. So it was a baptism by fire because it's MCM's a big and full of cosplayers, and we queued up with like 60,000 other people, and we were some of the only people not in cosplay, and we felt really self-conscious about it. So yeah, that was our first experience doing Comic-Con.
Fair enough. I like the fact that it was your first anniversary as well. I mean, San Diego Comic-Con, as regular viewers will know, was the centerpiece to my honeymoon. That was that was a big year. Oh no, that was interesting considering, like I say, centerpiece to our honeymoon. Except for at the beginning of the day, the both of us went our separate ways for the 5-6 hours of the day, and then met up at the end. So we barely saw each other for 4 or 5 days. Very, very strange, but there we go. Ethan, a brief introduction to yourself and your work, and can you remember your first Comic-Con, sir?
Yeah, I'm Ethan. I'm a 16-year-old aspiring concept artist. I've done some professional work for Upper Deck and some smaller projects on the side. I'm trying to remember. I think the first con I went to was WonderCon when it was back in San Francisco. So I must have been 6 or 7.
Just gonna say that's still some time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I don't remember what year, but I know I was young. I'm pretty sure it was WonderCon though.
Fair enough. And for yourself, Emma, a brief introduction to yourself, and if you can remember your first Comic-Con that you went to.
I'm Emma. My voice doesn't normally sound like this, and I'm definitely not 16 anymore. So brief introduction to myself. Like most of us, I write and draw comics. Grew up with comics, love comics. Right now, working on several things, writing Life is Strange, drawing Modern Frankenstein with Paul Cornell for Magma. But yeah, in terms of Comic Cons, my first con, well, I would have started with anime cons. So it would have been Minami Con, which still runs today, which is like, I think maximum about 200 people in a hotel in Southampton. And I went along there with my like comic circle Sweat Drop at the time. And no, I didn't. I went before it was Sweat Drop, of course. I met them there. So that really changed the course of my entire life, not only diving into discovering like a whole new world of my people, but also discovering other people who made comics, which was a thing I didn't think you could do. Like people make comics, this is insane. So that was incredible. And then our first outside of Anime Con, we did a foray to an event in a hotel in London, which I think was, I couldn't tell you, it must have been like 2002, 2003 or something. And it would have been, I can't even picture what the hotel was, but it was my first experience. It was the first con I met people like Kieran and Jamie at. You might have been there and I wouldn't have known, of course. Yeah, I just saw you come up on the screen. And it was like a different world. Like, so again, horizons broadening. And then haven't really looked back. And like most of us, cons have been part of my life. Yeah, it's hard to imagine a time before cons were in my life now. And I think this year is proving to us all how much we need them.
Well, yes, absolutely. And we're definitely going to get into that because all three of you have tabled at conventions. And this is where Emma and Mike look at Ethan at 16. Yes, he is a regular tabler at conventions now.
So impressive.
But it is very impressive, as is his work. And I would heartily recommend checking it out. But just to quickly dive in with my history, because I don't think many people know about the first convention I actually went to was when I was 17, and I went to a Star Trek convention at the Leeds Hilton, and it was completely off the back of a friend of mine who just went, "There's a Star Trek convention in Leeds. Come on, let's go." And we just jumped on the bus, and I think we went as very kind of smart ass to 16, 17-year-olds, just kind of wanting to go and point and laugh at people dressing up as Klingons.
Oh,
but
that backfired, didn't it?
Just a little bit, just a touch. It was something that we obviously, I think we both just came out blown away by the passion that was on display. Everyone was just there with a genuine love for Star Trek and for just coming together as a community. And that's what I definitely remember and have taken moving forward. The other question that I ask, the first question I usually ask is, what brew do we have for our cup of tea together? Except I don't have a cup of tea to hand, and you guys don't seem to have beverages to hand. So we'll skip that question for now. Oh, Emma's representing.
No, normally
Emma's representing. Fair enough. The other question I ask is, as people who have tabled at conventions, no doubt that you have seen and met people, heroes, contemporaries, people that have inspired you. And I'm certain that there's been one or two of those moments where there's perhaps been a little bit of cotton mouth and wobbly knees moment meeting your heroes. Mike, can you remember a key moment or a headlining moment meeting a hero at a convention?
Oh, goodness, that's a horrible question, and I hate you for asking. No, I don't. That's a really tricky one. I can't really think of I think, to be honest, for me, the bigger interactions were when I was just starting, and it was meeting people. Actually, it's meeting people like Emma at some of the earliest conventions I went to. Like, we sat at a bar after a convention and chatted.
Oh, that's awesome.
Paul Duffield and Kate Brown as well, and that was just really helpful to talk to people who you look up to and getting feedback. So I'll say it's more kind of encounters like that, which is kind of part of the whole con experience, kind of chatting to people in or around the con. I can't think of I'm not really one for big names wanting to meet heroes. That's never. I've never been bothered by autographs or things like that. So that's never been something I've really kind of.
It's almost easier in our world. Have you had the experience where it's almost the opposite of going after a big name, but because comics is the way comics is, and often there is this lack of ego and this invisibility, that if anything, the times I've been taken by surprise is when I'm just having a lovely chat with someone with no realization that the name, because you're talking to a person, not realizing what they look like or what their name is. And I had that with Mark Buckingham the first time I met him, because we were just having a lovely chat in a bar after like you say, after I think it was one of the Birmingham cons or something. And I think it was also the con where I met Leah Moore. So we'd been having a chat, and then Leah and I had gone to the loo, as ladies do. And she said something like, "Oh, isn't Bucky lovely?" And I was like, "What should you do? The guy you've been talking to is Mark Bucky." And you just had that moment of like, "Oh my God, I had no idea," which is probably for the best, because if I had known, maybe I wouldn't have, been so natural with him. But same as Mike says, I don't think it's especially in our world for cons where you're behind a table most of the time, I suppose, you don't really have that going up to your heroes so much. But sometimes your heroes sneak up in a way you're not expecting, and you'll have a lovely conversation because everyone's so nice. And then you go home and realize who you were talking to and go, "Oh."
Yeah. It definitely makes a difference when you kind of talk to people as people compared to, like Emma says, when you know people and you're kind of like, "Oh, so what are you working on?" You have kind of this really awkward conversation. And when you just two random people at the bar or around the con and you just have a proper conversation and get to know them, it does make a bit of a difference.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I've had a number of kind of post-con bar interactions where I haven't known who the person is, and we've just so have you enjoyed the con? Yeah, it's been fantastic. So so what do you do at the convention? Oh, I'm Liam Sharp, I've been tabling here. Oh, right, okay, fine. And you suddenly I think that's one of the reasons why, certainly with the creator spotlight, which we've been doing on the website, we've been making sure that the person involved as being front and center on the featured artwork, on the featured image, so people can connect with the face of the name and try and make that connection. Because I think when people are trying to get into comic art or illustration art or any kind of creative endeavor, sometimes the artwork comes up when you're searching for them and you don't make a connection to the face. So I think
sometimes we want that though.
I've noticed that with colorists. Colorists, I've noticed, are incredibly shy in that regard. So I've noticed that. Ethan, for yourself, meeting perhaps a hero or just a contemporary at a convention.
Yeah, I think I kind of talk about this one a lot. I even posted about it a few weeks ago. But it was a WonderCon when I was 8 years old. It was the last day, and we stayed at the Hilton Anaheim. We stay at it every year, and there's like this buffet that you eat at, and my family always eats there. After, in the mornings before the show starts, and we were sitting out in the lobby, and then there was this like huge commotion near the door because there's just a straight shot to the door, and we're all kind of like starting to sit up, and we're saying like who could be pulling all those people, and then Stan Lee walks into the hotel.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, with Humberto Ramos, and so everyone is going over there, and I'm still an 8-year-old kid. I have no idea what to do. I've never been in this situation, so like we're kind of like walking over just to be in the presence of this legend, and then Humberto and his wife like motion for me to come over, and I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm just kind of like waddling over there and not saying anything, and then Humberto introduces me, and I have like the smallest voice because I have no idea how to talk like to a legend, and I got a picture, and that might be my favorite con experience ever. It was one of the coolest things to ever happen to me, and I think even like in that situation I didn't understand like the kind of the how big it was. Because this is the hero of all heroes for me. It's
incredible, yeah.
And
nice.
And looking back, like it's always such a vital moment in like just the con experience that I remember very vividly, and I've always had that. So I'm very lucky to have that experience, and so yeah.
Being 8 years old as well, yeah, that would blow your mind.
Yeah, it was well, that's a funny thing. Like, I didn't know what to say. Like, I think I said one word to him because he asked me what I like to draw, and I said Spider-Man, and that was it because I couldn't say anything else. I was like, I don't know how to act in this situation. So yeah, I was definitely awestruck.
Nice.
Brilliant. We've got one or two people who are dropping some serious names in the comments. It's got to be said. I mean, we've got somebody who's watching right now who has had the opportunity to meet some serious names as the person that runs Artist Alley at San Diego Comic Con. It's great to have Clydine Nee, who's joining us on the chat. She's dropping some hardcore names. Sid Mead, yeah, okay, nice. Concept artist extraordinaire. Alan Ellison. Whoa, okay, yeah, that's somebody that I don't know if I could, if I was given the opportunity to meet Harlan Ellison, because, well, obviously I'm a fan of his writing, but it's Harlan Ellison and the man comes with a reputation. So I don't think I'd have ever had the opportunity to go and see him. Although we do have Aaron Neighbours who's saying when he met a hero at a convention, I remember meeting Ethan when he was 10 or 11 at a con. So excellent stuff jumping in on that one. Thank you very much indeed to everyone. Jump in with your comments, people that you remember seeing at conventions. Scott Dumbier is joining us. Hello there, Scott. How the devil are you, sir? Harlan was great. I don't know if it's just sheer reputation, because everyone I've ever spoken to about Harlan Ellison, they just turn around and say, yeah, he was just such a warm-natured or a funny guy. But seeing him in interviews, I think it's that fierce intellect. And being a thicko like I am, I don't know if I'd be able to kind of keep up. But there we go. We've had this year, and we are now talking, I think this year, or this week and this time particularly, we are approaching the anniversary of when COVID really first made its impression on the world stage. And it very, very, very quickly made an impression on all of our lives and conventions. I think it was Emerald City was the last one. And literally lockdowns were taking place as people were flying home for that convention. I think it was MCM as well, that we were like a week away from that happening in London.
There were a few as well. Like I remember having an email conversation. I was supposed to be going to Amsterdam, and we were still emailing like a couple of, it must have been quite close to the show, where we were saying, we're still going to do it. I think we're going to do it. I'm not sure. And I remember saying, like, I feel a bit uncomfortable with this now. And then them saying, well, let's see how we do close. And then, yeah, it's just sort of this weird crawl towards the inevitable. This isn't happening, is it? Slowly watching events drop off, which was the right thing to do. Of course, it was the right thing to do. But it is old now.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I think the reason why I bring up that anniversary thing is, number one, as well, the whole idea that as the year was going on, we were looking at and hoping that things were going to kind of come back. We were looking at summer, maybe San Diego Comic Con would happen, maybe the MCM shows would happen.
Yeah, they kept rebooking.
Then as the year rolled on, it became very apparent that 2020 was a bust. It has given us all the opportunity, especially, I mean, me as an attendee, but certainly you three as creatives. I mean, we do have Patrick Ballesteros, who is watching. Hello there, Patrick. If you do want to jump in, sir, message me and we'll try and get you onto the link. But as creatives who have been on the other side of the table, who have also used conventions not only to meet and interact with fans, but also that revenue stream of getting books out there, getting projects out there, and getting the word out there about what you do. What has been the hardest thing about not having conventions in 2020? What has been the thing that you have missed the most from a professional standpoint about not having cons?
For me, let's jump in. Sorry, there's two angles on this. There's like the practical side, which yes, work-wise in terms of I released the second book of Breaks at the wrong time. I've still got it all in my garage. I haven't been able to go to convention with it. It was the wrong time to bring a book out. We didn't know what was going to happen. But more importantly, and for my mental well-being, and the reason calls like this is really good and why I didn't want to miss out, even with my voice as it is that I've noticed that where like my his work's still carrying on and he'll be having work calls and meetings and he's got people he's communicating with. For us, we are each other's industry. We are who we bounce off of. We know that we're going to be going to conventions. We can have a chat. You can have an event. You can talk. You can get excited. You can inspire each other. And our entire community of comics has lost that. And for all that we can try and do it on Twitter and people try, it's not the same. It's never going to be the same. So I think on a psychological level, that's the thing I didn't realize I relied so much on conventions for. It's just feeling like I belong somewhere and that I'm part of an industry, which is, slightly sad. I know, but it's really hit me hard the last few weeks. I think, like you say, we're coming up to that year and realizing, God, I think my brain isn't functioning very well because I've not spoken to people enough. It's a really big part of our lives that's missing.
Yeah. I think financially as well. Like, I, as an independent creator, a lot of the work I do, I plan it a year or so, a year and a half in advance. So a lot of the time you'll be planning it towards when your big convention's coming up. But as they all kind of went, most of us kind of just put our projects back. So everyone's been putting projects further and further behind. So I think that's difficult as well because you don't have these targets to work to. So as well as struggling from the social aspect, you also miss the structure that you have from like a financial and kind of goal kind of direction as well.
Yeah, we have somebody who has joined us. Hello there, Patrick. How are you, sir?
Hi, can you hear me okay? Check.
We
mic,
can indeed.
Sweet.
If you are an attendee on a regular basis of certainly of San Diego Comic-Con or of California conventions, you will know Patrick's work. Heaven knows I've got some framed upstairs, as myself and my wife are big fans. Certainly as an illustrator, he is one of the headliners of numerous artist alleys. It's a pleasure to have you joining us. Thank you very much indeed for coming along.
Oh yeah, thanks. Sorry, I was super late. Right. My message.
No worries.
I feel bad. Sorry.
I mean, we've done a quick round robin about introducing ourselves. If you want to very quickly, for those people who perhaps are not familiar with your work, who are you, sir?
I am a brown guy that lives in San Diego. I'm just kidding. Sorry. I'm in San Diego, California. I'm an artist, illustrator, educator. And just really quickly, I've worked in the entertainment industry, do comic conventions, teach, and I think a lot of people know me from the work that I do at San Diego Comic-Con specifically, because I've got a great outpouring of support from a lot of people there who I miss very much seeing every year. And a lot of the works that I'm known for, basically, just to sum it up, it's a little bit of childhood nostalgia, a lot of pop culture influence, and a lot of horrible puns and dad jokes inserted here and there, just to round it out.
That pretty much sums it up. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We're talking about what we've missed. As somebody who, as well as appearing at San Diego Comic-Con, you also appear at Creator Con, which for me is a very interesting show. That it's not just comic creators, it's illustrators, it's concept artists, it's people who have a very much a definite product to sell and that kind of and put forward. You're not just kind of it's not just an appearance, it's very much a shop front. We were talking there with Mike and Emma and Ethan, and certainly we'll get around to Ethan again as well about what you've missed from a professional standpoint of conventions not happening this year.
Really quick, Mike and Emma, are you like on the other side of the pond? Like, because
we are, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's so cool. No, I just
so yeah, Emma,
we know what the pond is.
Yeah.
Do we just look really English? Is that?
I was trying to be ethnic.
They're missing shows like Thought Bubble and MCM and Lakes. Ethan and Patrick, that you're missing all the West Coast shows. So yeah, we're missing cons worldwide at this point. But
Big time.
take it away.
Yeah, that's super cool. It's nice to get a different perspective, definitely. And so that's why when I was listening, it's like they have accents. I don't want to assume. I just want to make sure. Okay,
No
cool.
one's putting them on.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wow, you do that better than we do. When we try English accents, it just sounds like weird hillbilliness. I'm not going to try it. Anyway, sorry. So the question was in regards to cons, what we miss in regards to like putting ourselves out there and connecting
on a
with
professional
fans.
level. Yeah.
I think it's just having that avenue where people can walk by and you can have a discussion with them about your art. Social media and stuff is great, especially during this time right now. But I think a lot of it has become you're catering to just try to get them to stop and get that like. And that's all it is. It's just like a quick little tap. But when you're at
It's not
cons,
nourishing.
yeah, it isn't. It's that quick hit, like, oh, yay. And then it goes away. You're like, oh, shoot, dang, man.
Yeah.
But when you're at a con, it's almost like you trap them because they're all there. Like, you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You can't go outside. There's too many people. What are you going to do? And so when they're all there, you're just like chatting and there's this energy. And then some more people come by. Then they show you your work or you talk about your work or you meet different artists. And I think that's the other part is as artists, you work in your solitary cave for so long, honing your craft, getting everything together. And then you're thrust into this world of, oh, now I got to be social. And at times it's painful, but on the other end, it's also super good for you because you get to see firsthand those people's reaction. And that's what I miss a lot is, yeah, I'll put in a post and, oh yeah, get 500 likes, get 100 likes. But in all honesty, those numbers, it's not really accurate because of the algorithms and who cuts it off. When you're at a show, you get to see the actual authentic, not necessarily numbers, but the authentic responses of people and going and see Ethan's work, Mike's work, Emma's work, and be going, oh man, that's so cool. How did you come up with that? And like, well, let me tell you how smart I am. And then you go into your whole spiel. But I think that's the main thing is just having that opportunity to showcase not just the stuff that's like, well, we'll get likes, will be popular, but the other stuff like, oh, wow, that's cool. And it's getting into those smaller niches within a niche, which I think is what you're trying to do on social media now, especially during the pandemic. But it gets harder because it's finding your audience can be difficult, but when you're at a con, you're all there for the same purpose, to geek out and nerd out about all the stuff that you like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go for it, Mike.
Well, I'd also kind of add to that, like a lot of us use Kickstarter and Patreon, and it's the feedback you can get from going to shows where people have picked up your work and read it and they just come and talk to you and they're like, oh, hey, I really enjoyed your work. And it's that kind of personal feedback and that conversation you can have, which can, help your future work as well. I think I personally miss that because I use Kickstarter a fair bit. And sometimes it can feel a little bit kind of soulless because you're putting something out there and the book's gone and you don't know if people enjoy it. And it's like, it was great, it's funded, it's great, I made some money from it, but I haven't just made this to make money because, none of us would be doing comics. We're doing it to make money. So when you go to a con and people come over to you and they talk about something they've already picked up and they're literally just coming over to, tell you what they thought. I mean, as long as they're not there demanding a refund, then it really helps you as a creator. So I really miss that.
I know I want to hear what I don't want to stop Ethan from answering because we haven't heard his answer yet either. But just jumping in there as well, exactly what Patrick was saying and tying into what I was saying before about the fact that my husband's job's continuing and he'll have like one-to-one calls, he'll have progress meetings with people, and it's odd because we are in these isolated lives. We sort of, I don't know about you guys, but I've never felt imposter syndrome as badly as I have the last year because you're there going, what am I doing? Is anything I'm doing any good? I'm not getting to speak to anyone else who's doing this. I'm not feeling inspired by other people in the way I normally would. I'm not getting feedback in the way I normally would. I'm just throwing things out into the ether. It's really difficult without that front-facing side of the industry. It's very bizarre.
I didn't even think about that again, but just going off what you said, that's actually, I think I've been feeling the same way. One of my school assignments was literally writing about imposter syndrome, and it like we watched a TED talk about it. And then it finally like dawned on me. I've been feeling like this the last few months, like very tough.
Oh, wow.
But because it's like the idea that, again, even now, I don't I didn't know that I had, that it was like this powerful of a thing. But then it's like reflecting back, it's like, whoa, this is, I've been feeling this the entire time. And I like what Patrick said, like the idea of this like collective energy at the cons. And I feel like that just having the ability to talk with these people that even just con goers that aren't artists and exhibitors, like you have this there's this kind of like nerdy rapport, and everyone knows what you're talking about, and have like being able to have a discussion about anything has always been like super duper. It's been really fun, and it's been really educational, and I think that's what I miss the most is like just being able to meet people and talk to them and learn from them, and whether that be specifically about art or whether that's just life. Like I feel like learning everything has been like the most important takeaway, and I've been missing that a lot.
I know that the one thing that was prompted off the back of a conversation we had with Patrick in the comments before we started was we want this to be a celebration of conventions.
Yes.
The things that we love and the things that we miss, but certainly leading up to the end of 2019, and certainly for a couple of years as well prior to that, there was the conversation that there was a lot of conventions. There was almost convention saturation, that there was too many of them. It was becoming very much an industry feeding itself. Now we've got, on all of a sudden, the light switch went off and we had none of them. What do you feel the industry, or what do you feel comic conventions can take away from this now? This kind of this reset that the global pandemic has put on everything. I think the question is, what can conventions learn moving forward?
I think one of the big takeaways.
Anyone wants to jump in?
Yeah. One of the big takeaways has been seeing the really impressive digital solutions people are coming up with over the last year. And I think it's a reminder that while we're talking about that nourishment we get by being with our people, which is what we miss, there are ways you can do that online. And it's been really impressive seeing how many conventions have found ways of doing like digital events, more streams, more online inclusive conversations, which actually in some ways is going to open doors to more people who can't get to those conventions, because there's no question that like it's not intentional gatekeeping, but of course there's going to be events people can't attend, or they don't feel comfortable attending, or they don't feel comfortable going to the bar in that way. Like there's loads of reasons people might feel cut out of that conversation, whereas if we bring it to their screen in their home, it's more inclusive for them. So hopefully even when we do have full Comic Cons back and we can all kind of be back together, we're going to keep some of these doors open for that digital side, which is more of a welcoming environment, I think, for people who it's just not as easy for them to go to conventions.
Yeah, and the void of social interactions as well, I think, will make Comic Cons put a bit more emphasis on making events and panels as kind of socially accessible as possible. So I definitely think there'll be some aspects where they'll try to rethink how they structure things. And I think that could really help.
I'm really curious to see how the scale of the convention landscape is going to be, whether it's going to be this period of time is going to have a number of organizers rethink and not be able to start back up again. Whether even the bigger shows, the MCMs, the San Diego Comic-Cons are just going to take it down and just kind of the scale is going to be smaller. Patrick, Ethan certainly did the West Coast, which do celebrate the big conventions. What do you think?
I think it's going to be very important for the attendees, the crowd, whether it be here or over there, whatever con, to be vocal about what they want to see again, what they want to come when they're coming back. Because I think now more than ever, these con goers, they're going to be very, very, not con goers, excuse me, the showrunners, they're going to want people to come back because that's basically the bread and butter. I mean, they got hit in the wallet. So to bring these people back, they want to know, okay, well, what's going to make you feel safe, or what events, or what things, or what artists. And I think if the attendees are vocal enough saying, we want to see this, or what about that, I think this is the time for their voices to be heard even more. And with that, hopefully they see how important like an artist alley and the actual artists are, as opposed to keep shoveling the artists, pushing them to the side. Let's get another big company. Let's get another big company. Because as you all well know, that a lot of these floor shows, there's just one big company after another, and no one can get anywhere, and all these artists are just kind of crammed and just stuck, isolated.
Earlier when I was tweeting about this, I was trying to find. Oh, I just saw that comment. Oh, sweet. I was trying to find. I was looking for a GIF to put with this. So I was looking like Comic Con GIF. And of course, everything was films. I couldn't find a single GIF of like an artist alley or any like actual people making comics.
Yeah.
Like, oh, which is a whole nother conversation, I realize. But I think that's a good point. Yeah, like it's a chance to breathe and think about what people want to see. And being vocal is really good. I think it's going to go two ways, though, isn't it? Either things are going to come in slowly, gently, carefully, or there's going to be this floodgate because everyone is so keen to get back.
There'll be a floodgate.
I was going to say
definitely a floodgate.
I think like kind of speaking back to what Patrick was saying, like it just speaks to the passion of the artists and kind of like how some cons do a better job of keeping that alive and capturing it, and then there are some that are that are maybe bigger scale and they focus a lot more on the entertainment, and that's good, but also I mean the artists are the ones creating all of that, and I feel like taking some of that energy down is it helps in a way, but then it's also harmful because it's it's a balancing act. So I think a lot of artists are going to be speaking to that, and I do think it's going to be a floodgate because I think everything has been so repressed lately. So
yeah, I mean it's a business, and we all know that it is a business, and that the bigger companies, they're paying like the big prices so that everyone can come in and enjoy, and it makes the show run and everything, keeps the lights on. But my hope is that when the floodgates do open, they'll see people going for the free swag left and right, for that big, let me get that. But I'm hoping, and this is going to be on the attendees as well, and is that when the floodgates do open, that they'll see where these people are congregating, where they're hovering, what they missed the most. And in my ideal world, that'll be like the small press. The artist
we could be entirely wrong, Patrick.
Yeah.
We're going to go over to the
that's
films.
true.
I missed the films.
I mean, something I'm going to get into in a second is virtual conventions and what they've done right and what they've done wrong. And certainly the one that you're talking about, what you hope is that there will be more a resurgence in the interest in Artist Alley and the small press, because I think that's one thing for myself that has been sidelined by virtual conventions, because it's something that is very difficult to do in a virtual convention, to actually have a virtual Artist Alley. San Diego tried to do it with their kind of interactive Artist Alley map, which kind of worked, but it was so hard to navigate. The actual putting together a way of getting those people that would be behind a table and selling something, selling a product, selling a book, selling a comic, selling artwork. And instead, the virtual conventions kind of focused on the panel content. Is there a way, do you feel, that the virtual cons, seeing as they are not going away anytime soon and the conventions are not returning anytime soon, it's something they're going to have to learn to work. What do you feel that they can do to make that better?
Depending on the scale. Yeah. Oh, no, go ahead. They're tired of hearing me talk. Go ahead, Emma.
No. I was going to say the personal. I think exactly what you're saying. The personal is what's been missing the most. And hopefully we're right in thinking that when cons open again, people are going to be more vocal about what I've missed is getting to actually go and speak to these creators, getting to have that nice like unifying moment, that personal interaction. That's something that I've gone to a few virtual cons. I've done a few panels of virtual cons, but as a punter, I've quite enjoyed checking, like, for instance, Thought Bubble. I like that you had the map and you could click on the rooms and go to the different rooms. I think maybe we could take that a step further. There were some creators, I know Paul Duffield and Kate Brown, they'd done it so that they'd set up their tables in their house and taken photos of them so that when you clicked on their tables, you actually could see pictures of the tables. Maybe we would take it a step further where each creator if you're attending as a virtual exhibitor, you have a Zoom or something, FaceTime, whatever. So when people click on your table, not only do you can then have like a video chat with the creator, like a one-to-one. I don't know, just making it more personal somehow.
I think Tom Ward, a UK creator, independent creator, did start setting something up.
Oh, really?
I think he called it Kitchen Con, and it was just creators.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
A live stream. I didn't see it because I wasn't available, but it sounded like it was quite fun and quite similar to that, and I think that could be quite fun. I
don't know if anyone saw. Did anyone see there was a viral video where someone had created a virtual San Diego Comic-Con, or certainly the Hall H area and the Artist Alley area, and they'd done it in Animal Crossing. So you could actually wander around from person to person and interact. And I was stunned that no one actually took that all the way and created a kind of a virtual space in a kind of game setup or in a familiar setup where you could actually just wander around.
I would be amazed.
I know it's
like...
kind of like, I know it's a little bit like the Matrix, but there are times when the Matrix wouldn't be a bad thing, and we've seen that with this.
I mean, given the year we've had, I would be amazed if there aren't clever people out there right now programming virtual systems for not just for comics, but general, like any conventions. Every industry has been hit in some way. So
I'm stunned that Oculus hasn't sold through the roof. I'm stunned that Oculus hasn't sold through the roof. I really am.
Yeah, but I think one convention that did it pretty well was Lightbox. I got to be a part of Lightbox Expo, and they did some really cool stuff where they had like an actual virtual artist alley that it's kind of like Google Maps, where you can kind of go through the halls, and people set up, you would send in images, and then they have their booths set up, so you can look around, click the different images, and that'll bring you different links, and they had like Discord set up, so you have all these different halls, and you can join different voice chats and talk to your favorite artists and all that stuff. And then of course they had panels going on at the same time. And I think like that was a really good starting point. And I think if we can continue that and figure out how to make that even more kind of inclusive and also maybe even bigger in scale or smaller. It depends on, what direction you're going for. But I think that was a really, really good kind of proof of concept for what is possible.
I think it's just hard because overall, everyone has just been oversaturated with video calls, with Zoom calls. You're just getting burnout from all of this screen time. And it's not your fault. That's what we have to do now. And so that's why when those floodgates open, it's not going to be a flood. It's going to be a literal tsunami of just like, oh my God, where are you coming from, people? And so in that aspect, whenever I do some type of virtual event, it's hard when you're doing it on a big scale at like a convention scene because there's just so many screens. There's so many things to pop into. And then you have to also think about the people that used to go to these events that aren't really tech savvy as well. For them to go into all these groups, like for us, it's like nothing. Like, oh yeah, just click there, I'll click there. Well, for some other people, they're like, wait, I got to join a what? And I got to do a this, and I got to do in that. And so it may not seem like a lot of people that are missing it, but it is a good sized chunk of people that don't have that access. And so that's the part that it gets tricky. It's like you can't please everyone, of course. That's impossible. But what I would say is it's just trying to make it manageable. What that is, I don't know. I've been playing around doing like just Instagram lives or using an app called Pop Shop Live, where you create a show and people come to your show. So it's more of like a one-on-one type of thing where you're there, they're talking to you, you're engaging, and it's like they're at your booth. I did go and browse Lightbox Expo, and I do love how the setup was. But again, even with that, it's like you got to catch someone's eye when they're going down that virtual hall.
The app was a real dog to use. The site itself kind of was manageable, but they wanted you to use the app a lot for metrics, and it was a real swine to use. I have mixed thoughts about Lightbox. We had the organizers on prior to launch, and they I think the ambition was certainly there. We'll get into virtual conventions, and we'll ask about ones that certainly caught your eye. We'll do a couple of comments first. Andrew English, I miss cosplayers. Yeah, I get that. I think that certainly prior to lockdown and prior to to COVID, there were a lot of creators behind tables going, oh, why are the cosplayers getting all the attention? And then 6 months later, like going, oh, we miss them so much. Yeah, I get it. I totally do. John Castillo, I miss our con family. We would love to see everyone regularly a few times a year, and we always have a great time catching up. Hoping we can get back to that soon. And English, I'm worried that with conventions having lower attendees capacity, that the prices will get too expensive. So I would like to see that they would still have some web presence. I certainly understand that. Virtual conventions, which ones have done it right? Which ones have done it wrong? For myself, it's definitely been a sliding scale between DC Fandom, which for all of its gloss and for all of its high production, had zero interaction with the fans. It was basically just a 24-hour live stream. That was it. Then you have on the other end of the scale the ambition of Mainframe Comic Con, which is doing what we're doing with live stream with StreamYard here, inviting people on and doing it with multiple rooms and spinning a lot of plates. But very much the fans, the attendees, the people watching are at the heart of what Mainframe were doing. Which shows have been doing it right? What shows have been doing it wrong? What have you been watching? Mike, have you watched any virtual conventions? Which ones caught your eye?
No, worst person to ask. I haven't attended a single one. After working like so many hours on a computer, I really haven't fancied trying to navigate looking at a Comic Con online. I'm probably at the stage now where I would, but yeah, it's a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably now I'll check one out, but I don't think.
Well, oh, he's kind of frozen on us.
We're really struggling for some
awesome.
reason. The UK computers are not having fun.
Yeah. Listen, this is UK internet. I think people need to understand just how crap we've got it over here.
Oh no!
I think the certainly what he was saying, and I think I'll piggyback off that in terms of what my wife feels. It's not interacting with people. It's not face to face. It's not a real con. Not
Which
to
what
her.
Patrick was saying as well. It's not. It doesn't have the nourishment. It's incredibly difficult to find a way to inject that same feeling you get from a one-on-one chat with someone in person, getting excited about something.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I like Patrick was saying about the screen time. I think all of us can appreciate that feeling of like, you know, it is still essentially sitting at a screen. So sorry, Mike, you're all right. You back? We lost you.
Yeah, you're there, Mike.
Oh.
No, he's not.
Oh, never mind. Oh man!
You can actually see his mouth open as well. He was like,
Yeah, he was about to say something, and then just went.
Oh, he's just trying to make me feel better with my poor little
Ethan.
voice.
Yeah, I've been to
Ethan,
a few.
as somebody who is probably a little bit more savvy with sitting in front of a computer for a long period.
It's been well, I've been doing school all online, so I've gotten a little tired of Zooms and stuff. But I do like. I mean, I feel like I'm okay. I'm kind of tech savvy, so I'm okay with a lot of this stuff. But I've been doing a lot of that. There were some cons that were a lot of fun. I did a few interviews, and then like one that I remember was a Sioux City Comic Con, where I just did an interview, and then they played that over the weekend. And then I just did some Instagram lives and some Twitch streams and just some drawing stuff. But again, like I agree with all of you guys. Like it's still missing that same feeling of being at a con. There's I still feel like I'm hiding behind this veil of I don't even know what you would call it. Just like false interaction, kind of. Not that it's bad or anything, but it's very different, and not being able to talk to people and reading. I feel like reading comments off the internet versus having a discussion with someone is a completely different thing. So I guess that's kind of how I've felt, and I'm not really sure. I think most people are feeling the same way.
I think, and maybe we have to remember, I suppose, at least with our industry, we're pretty lucky that we can function digitally. It's not going to be the same. I've got friends in theatre who
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
There is no equivalent. So I guess we have to count our blessings that we can in some ways exist digitally.
Yeah. I was thinking about that because I've actually got some friends in the theatre industry, and I was surprised that more theatres didn't just set up cameras and do sort of like live stream pay-per-view.
Well, there's so much more to it, though, isn't it?
performances.
It's getting casts and
I know.
crew and getting everything. It's
Yeah.
a lot harder for some industries than it is for ours.
Yeah.
Unless you're like Hollywood with the
which-
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So which virtual cons did it better than most for yourself? I mean, like I say, I really enjoyed that, watching the Higher Wire Act of Mainframe. I quite liked the content that was put forward by Lakes, because Lakes always is very much a very specific show. It's very much about the artist, capital T, capital A. So it's very much about that kind of the higher echelon of creatives. Then you have what MCM did with Metaverse, and trying to pretty much chase what everyone else was doing by getting as much content out. Which conventions do you feel did it better than most? Patrick, if you've been seeing any that kind of caught your eye?
So yeah, I did the virtual San Diego Comic-Con, and just like you mentioned, of course they had to scrape everything together last minute. And yeah, most of the emphasis is probably just because technically it was easiest to do was just the panels on YouTube. And I thought that was cool because you didn't have to run around and miss a panel. You could actually play it back later. So in that aspect, that was cool. But in regards to actually artists and vendors, it was just a list and you clicked on it, and it's basically you throw a dart on the map, like, oh, I'm gonna look up that artist. That's how it felt when you're looking at it. So hopefully this year, we haven't heard anything. It's not happening, but I don't know what they're planning. So hopefully something pops up. And the only other
that would be the first we've heard about it, because according to all of their official literature, they are still going ahead with it.
Oh, they are. Well, I don't know about that.
What
numbers
month would that be again?
July.
That's July.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
The numbers are still California.
Yeah.
I mean, our governor.
Like I said, the official literature is what they're saying. It's still going ahead.
I mean, for me, honestly, I'm not going to any actual cons in person till next year. I mean, that's just the reality of it for me.
That was going to be one of my next questions then. So when do you see, I mean, forget when organizers actually open the doors. When do you guys see yourselves being comfortable at a convention?
I mean,
I will
probably
do
the same.
Go ahead, Emma.
Go for it, Emma.
I went last
Ladies
time.
first. Ladies first.
See, he put down the hand.
Ladies first.
I was going to say probably the same as Mike, possibly. I am technically signed up for Thought Bubble, because obviously they transferred tables from last year to this year. So we're all kind of crossing our fingers for it. But I don't think it's quite sunk in for me. I mean, I love Thought Bubble. I miss Thought Bubble. I miss conventions generally. So I'm crossing everything for them. I haven't yet thought about the reality of, wow, does that mean I'm going to a convention this year? That hasn't quite sunk in yet. Have you got a table transfer, Mike, for that?
I'm not doing Thought Bubble, but I was considering doing October MCM. Like, I've got a hotel booked, but obviously it's a refundable one. So me and Martin Simmons decided we were going to go, but I don't think we're going to go. We've booked a hotel, but I think it's going to be too soon. But we booked it about a month ago, and things are changing so fast every day. I don't think it's one thing, the con being like, yeah, we're going to go ahead, but it's another feeling, firstly, safe in yourself to go somewhere where there's 100,000 people there, and secondly, for people to go back, and then thirdly, for them to go back and wanting to spend money. Like, MCM's a multimedia show, so a lot of the sales I make, like my stuff's kind of fairly mainstream, so it's not always from comic fans, it's from fans who are going to these shows and they've got some spare money and they browse through and they'll pick it up. But I'm thinking, maybe if COVID's still around and we don't think it's going to go away quickly, I don't think people are going to be like, oh, I'll go and check out the Comic Village, even though I'm not really into comics. So then is it worth the time and money and the risk? And I don't think it is, but it's still, I think the hotels are very much an optimistic booking, whereas it being refundable was probably a better choice. So yeah, I think I'll probably be the same as Patrick and go next year, but I'd like to go this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be said, when Thought Bubble announced its guest list, or its first salvo of guest lists, it's got to be said the names that they pulled out the bag has kind of tempted me. That I'm saying that I'm going to Thought Bubble this year because the names that they're bringing are very impressive indeed. But then, yeah, it's how this year goes, and considering that in April, March, April last year, we were thinking maybe the end of summer, and then we got to summer and maybe December, maybe November, December, maybe we'll go to cons. We're now in January, February.
Yeah, and I think also
thinking,
comics being a global.
let's just see it.
Being a global community, you then got the question of there's conventions and there's international conventions. You know, like it might be that somewhere, maybe Sweden decides actually we can run Stockholm Comic Con, but we're just going to have Swedish creators. We're not going to fly anyone. Maybe who knows? Maybe Thought Bubble continues, but ultimately the decision to bring over like guests from abroad isn't wise. Like we just don't know until we get there.
Yeah.
On the plus side, maybe it's going to open the door to more local talent getting involved with conventions. If you end up in a world where the international element becomes digital, but the like internal element is in person, maybe it opens doors to more like local creators to get involved. I don't know. I think everyone's going into it going, we don't know.
Yeah, I think, like we were saying earlier, I think Comic Cons are going to come back as quickly as they can. So even if not all of us feel safe, hopefully that will just be the opportunity for newer creators to get tables in places they can't always get tables. Like shows like MCM, it's quite hard for newer creators to get a table, so it would be great if they got that opportunity. But
Yes.
it's going to obviously be a personal choice for everyone if they want to. I don't want to say the word risk it, because that's if they want to go or not.
Yeah, but I just imagine
True.
us when we're there. It's just kind of a new protocol. Like, hey, how's it going? Elbow.
Yeah.
Good to see you again. Okay, bye.
It will be
Bye.
very much if you've touched it, you brought it.
No, that's the thing.
Very much so.
You touch, you buy.
Don't you think that 5 minutes in we'll all have forgotten protocol? Because we'll all be like, hey, our people, we won't remember.
Yeah.
Come down.
Everyone wear a hula hoop. Just wear a hula hoop. This is your shopping guide right here.
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing I didn't want this I wanted this to be just a nice hour conversation about the things that we've missed. So we'll ask one more question and we'll let everyone get off and enjoy the rest of their Sunday. And it is about the positive thing that you feel when you hear the word Comic-Con. What do you absolutely? What's the thing that put a smile on your face when you think about a Comic-Con? We'll start with Ethan. Sorry, I'm throwing you under the bus, man. First one under the bus. Sorry. When you hear the term Comic-Con, what is the thing that makes you just puts a smile on your face?
I think it's just the connection. I think it's the connection. Whether that be with peers, just people you meet in passing, bigger names that you have the pleasure of meeting. I think like just being able to interact with people has always been such a mind-opening experience, in the sense that no matter how small the interaction is, there's always something new. Everyone at the con is bringing something new, whether that just be their experience, their life story, and everything. There's always something to learn from everybody, and I always. Whenever we meet someone or we have like a new table neighbor, it's such a pleasure to get to introduce yourself and meet them. Like we have one friend that we met at a Comic-Con, and now we're like great family friends with them. We talk to them every day. And just stuff like that. I think really just being able to learn from everybody and just building these relationships with your con family is always to me, that's the most important thing about the cons.
Patrick, the thing that makes you smile the most when you think about Comic-Cons?
The end of the day of Comic-Con. I'm just kidding.
Listen, you're saying that as a joke. I don't think that's.
oh, it's over. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think the biggest thing that brings a smile to my face is just that, you know, it's like once a day, it's just like maybe that one person that comes up and that just talks to you, like, you know, there is like so much energy and hope, and they just like are gleaming about some of your artwork, and you're like, whoa, okay, I just drew a picture. What's going on? All right. But for them, it meant more than that. And to see your artwork have an effect on someone, it just gives it that much more meaning. And I think when we all went into this business, it wasn't like, oh yeah, we're going to be the richest person on the face of the earth. Like, no, you're in the wrong career for that, bud. Sorry, not going to happen. You know, we're all on that journey. And I think when you have those moments, that's what is going to make that journey very memorable, is those meaningful connections, meaningful relationships, and just seeing that, it's like, yeah, my artwork did that for someone. That's really awesome. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's what it is.
Cool. Mike?
I've got nothing to add after those two answers. That's kind of summed everything up. It's community, it's friends, it's seeing people you've worked with, and you know, you're now really close with it, people on the other side of the table. Yeah, it's just the people. It's the people I miss, the comic people. Comic people are the best people.
Yeah. I love comic people. I miss comic people. I've had people and yeah, it's not just within creators. Exactly like we're all saying. When I talk about the comic industry, I talk about everyone. I mean, like readers, retailers, journalists. We're all the comic industry, and so when we say comics people are the best people, we mean everyone, all of you.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know, having done cons for years, I've got certain people who started coming to my table when they were kids at school, and now they bring their kids to my table. And
oh, wow.
So we've watched people grow over the years. You know, this isn't just an industry; it is a community, and we're missing our gatherings. I mean, the whole world is missing its gatherings. So
sure.
You know. Obviously, this is our violin. We're allowed to play it. But, yeah,
I think for myself, I definitely feel that the community that I meet, and the friends that I meet, they become my family. They are definitely my extended family. And the thing I love about Comic-Cons is that I will go to meet my group of friends, my Comic-Con family, and I will leave with at least 10 or 15 more members of that family, and it keeps growing every single time I go to a convention. And these are people who watch this show. They are people that are tuned in right now. They are people who I will interact with on a daily basis on social media. They are our tribe. As an attendee, it's certainly it's not just the people I've been very lucky to meet that table and exhibit conventions. It's also the community of people who attend, and those, we're missing them a lot. Mike Perkins is saying.
Really quick, sorry. The one thing that I want to say is, like, thanks for putting this on, and it's awesome because now there's 2 more people to a tribe that I didn't know before.
I'm going to be following you guys right after this.
And so that's awesome. And so that's the one thing, is that geography is not an issue anymore. So it's really awesome that we got to do this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely going to ask you to tell everyone where to find more about yourselves very shortly, because I mean, all 4 of you are people. Quite frankly, if you are not following these 4 people, if you are watching this right now, if you're not following these 4 people, you're not doing it right. Go away and do it better. Do it better. Mike Perkins is watching. Hello, Mike. Good to have you watching us. Barcon is the best. That's
I saw
something
Tony
that,
pop up as well. So hi, Tony.
Oh yeah, well, Tony's not only a fantastic writer, but he's also somebody that has organised, for example, the Artist Alley or the Creators Corner or whatever they call it at the Showmasters shows. He's also just one of those people with his the web of connections in the comic industry, certainly here in the UK. Good guy. Great show, guys. But he also turns around and says, comic people are the best people. He knows it, and he knows what he's talking about. So there we go. Right. So, we do want to let everyone know where to find you as we wrap things up. So we'll start with Ethan. Where can people find you online? Where's the best place to go?
On my Instagram and Twitter, which are both Ethan Castillo 05. So ETHANCASTILLO 05.
Oh, was that the year you were born in?
It's not actually. It's not. It is not.
I really.
I was born in 04.
Okay, you know that GIF from the end of Indiana Jones and Last Crusade where he drinks from the wrong Holy Grail and just withers and dies. That's how I felt right then as you said that. Thank you.
Or where Tom Holland's like, you know that movie where they go into space? Yeah, that's Ethan. He's the Filipino Tom Holland right there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Excellent. Do go check out Ethan's page. Well worth checking out. Patrick, where can people find out more about you online, sir? Oh,
Wow.
There you go. Hang on a second. Hang on. Let's
very
solo this.
fancy.
There you go.
So just take a screen grab. You'll be good.
This is prep, man.
Oh, that's
I
genius.
got it. I took a screenshot.
Ready? Okay, cool.
There you go. Excellent stuff.
You have a really
Excellent.
cute avatar.
Oh, thank you.
Mike, where can people find you online, sir?
I am Mike Garley, and that's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, my website, Patreon. Yeah, that's just my name. It's simple as that. Mike Garley.
Mike, technical difficulties, guys.
Yeah.
Mike
Yeah,
Garley.
don't search for Mike technical difficulties, Garley, because that.
Yeah,
well,
my
It's a
computer's
whole
not
different
enjoying
account.
this. Yeah, my battery's about to die as well. So if I go, it's not because I've just run off. But it's 'cause my computer is now literally dying on me as well, just to make it even worse.
Fair enough. We'll definitely let you get off in a second then. Emma, where can people find you online? Let's see if we can get one last eke out of that voice of yours.
Yeah, it's hanging on. It's hanging on. I'm going to go and have a whiskey after this, medicinal
Ooh.
purely, of course. Yeah, so I am just mostly Emma Vicelli on Twitter, just Emma Vicelli, as it's written under there, probably for you, I think. In some places I'm Inky Tasty, but I think mostly I am Emma Vicelli. I'm actually just literally checking because I don't even know. I do have an Instagram. I'm very bad at updating it. I do have a website. I'm even worse at updating that. So probably Twitter is the best spot to find me, I'd say. I am Emma Vicelli on Instagram as well. So yeah. Also, my name is really weird. So Google something approximating Emma Vicelli, and it will you'll find me.
Brilliant. Excellent stuff. Listen, I want to say thank you very much indeed to all four of you for coming on. I know it was kind of like a spur of the moment thing, but it's great to have you come on and extol the virtues of Comic Cons, and let's all hope that we can get back together, seeing each other IRL sooner rather than later. Although from the sounds of things, it is going to be later rather than sooner. Let's just get it right, and let's everyone mask up and do what we need to do.
Stay safe first, yeah.
Stay safe, absolutely. Guys, thank you very much indeed for coming on.
Pleasure.
It's
Thanks
been
so much,
an
guys.
absolute-
Nice meeting you
Brilliant.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Do go check out all of those four creators. They really are some of the best people to go and check. The work is fantastic and well worth checking out. For myself, my hook is right there in the title. It's Englishman SDCC on the Twitter, on Instagram. I do live on Twitter most of the time, so that's where you can find me. But you can also find me on Facebook at An Englishman in San Diego. I am going to be running my usual end credits, which do say, see you next week. This has been an incidental. It's been a drop-in. It's been a way for me to still represent and still do Talkin Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego, but it's not, unfortunately, the start of a new run of shows. That being said, the see you next week thing does still apply. I am going to be doing a live stream next Friday. It's not going to be under the banner of An Englishman in San Diego, but I'm going to be hosting an evening with John McCrae, who is a legend. The man is an absolute star. He's wanting to do a live stream in benefit of the Cartoon Museum based in London. Like all museums and buildings which rely on attendees getting their foot through the door for their very existence. The Cartoon Museum is a building which has struggled through 2020 and will continue to do so as the year rolls on. John McCrae is doing this live stream. It's a £5 deposit to watch live, and he's going to be doing a live draw of a Judge Dredd piece live on camera. We're going to be talking about his career. We're going to be mostly focusing as well on that early part of his career, certainly around Crisis, Troubled Souls, which he did with Garth Ennis, And that's where we're also going to be having a couple of special guest stars jumping in as well, along the lines of Steve McManus and Garth Ennis, in very rare online appearances, talking to John about his career and about that period in his life. We're also going to be doing a little bit of a small auction as well, not only of the Judge Red piece, but also of some bits and pieces that we'll find floating around to hopefully raise as much money as we possibly can for the Cartoon Museum. The stream itself, like I say, it's donation invite only. So if you go to theconventioncollective.com and search for the John McCrae An Evening With, you can find out how you can join us next Friday. That is the 12th of February. It starts at 6 p.m. It's a £5 minimum deposit. And like I say, every penny is going to the Cartoon Museum. So please do donate as much as you possibly can. We will be putting the live stream up for public consumption, so you can find out more about John McCrae's career as we put that up a little bit more public a couple of weeks down the line. But you won't be able to take part in the auction, and you won't be able to get your comments and questions in to John, to Steve, and to Garth Ennis as well. So please do go to theconventioncollective.com. Check out the information about the evening. It's next Friday, or this Friday coming, the 12th of February, and I'm really looking forward to hosting an evening with John McCrae. So that's next week. So from myself, from my guests, we would love to have conventions back, and I hope that we'll see you at a show at some point, hopefully this year. We'll see how it goes. But as for Talkin Con, keep your eyes open. We'll try and get another episode up as soon as we possibly can. And hopefully we'll have some more guests to come and talk about the best of comic conventions on Talkin Con, a cup of tea with Englishman in San Diego. From me to you, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye-bye.